Hi, and welcome back to another stream. This is the one with the pickup swap. Hope everyone's doing great. Thanks so much for those of you who are already tuned in. We are live on Facebook and on YouTube, so you can find us both places. Please give us a like on both if you can. Give us a subscribe on both if you can. Hit that alert bell, all that fun stuff. In the description, you should see a couple links. I'll bring it up a couple times, but the first link is going to be for some merchandise, and I've had quite a few comments about merch. Here's the latest and greatest piece of merch right here. And then also there is another one for donations, and I asked for donations just to help keep the stream going because, as most musicians, we don't have a lot of shows and we don't have a lot of money right now. So it helps pay for the cameras that I'm using so I can get more cameras. You'll notice, well, hopefully you'll notice this week that the microphone is much clearer than it was last week. We brought in a brand new microphone to start using. So very excited about that. But lots of stuff going on. Today we got a pretty exciting project. I have an old Traverse guitar, so old it doesn't even have a logo on it. We can go ahead and show that right now. All right, so old Traverse guitar. So this is one of the first ones I did when I was doing some entry level stuff. For those of you who don't know the Traverse Music backstory, Traverse Music actually started as Traverse Custom Guitars LLC, and that had to kick off the ground somewhere. And it kicked off the ground with about $400 and 4 guitars. And I was buying some pre-made bodies and pre-made necks and some cheap Chinese parts and putting guitars together. But I was also putting guitars together and doing all the good work that you don't get in most Chinese builds from, your main guitar. So we have polished frets, we have the fretwork done, we have no fret ends sticking out, but we still had to be cheap on things like the pickups, the pots, the tuners, which you can't see on the screen right now. We unfortunately we had to be cheap with things like that because, well, that's what it was. So get you a little better view here. So anywho, so you can see my awesome mess. But I have a bunch of stuff laid out because I have a bunch of things we're doing to this guitar. So this guitar belongs to buddy Russ, who was one of my first customers. Well, that's why everything's a mess. You just saw. He was one of my first customers and has become a very good friend of mine. Great guy. Super happy to be able to work on one of his guitars on stream. So a couple neat features about this. These guitars were pre-made bodies, pre-made jobs. So they have this neat little rustic feel to them. This wasn't him. These guitars actually came with that stuff right away. And the pickups sounded okay. But Russ was first starting to play guitar. He had never played guitar before, and he wanted to start a guitar. And at 250 new, with all the fretwork and everything done, straight neck, all that stuff guaranteed, that was kind of a no-brainer. So today, what we are going to do is we're going to replace the pickups in here. Pardon me. We're actually going to replace this bridge with another bridge. And I will discuss benefits of each part swap as we go. But you can see these are significantly different bridges. So we're going to go ahead and replace that. And we are going to replace the pick guard, which is clearly cosmetic, but a very, very cool upgrade. And then we are also going to replace tuners. While I'm in here replacing the pickups, we are going to change out electronics and other fun things like that. So, hey, Russ. So, while we're doing this, feel free to reach out with any questions or comments or anything. I do have my buddy here helping me run the stream, so he'll try to get my attention whenever he sees something pop up that I don't see because I have a TV that's kind of above my work area that I'm not looking at. The best way to get either of our attentions is if you can throw a small donation and throw your question in that donation. It pops up on the screen with a noise alert, and I can see that right away then, and I can answer it right away. But I think the YouTube saying is without further ado. Is that like what every YouTuber says? Without further ado, let's get started. That's a thing. I know that's a thing. You can talk.
Sure.
Yeah. I mean, you don't have to be silent over there.
I'm silent.
So, first thing we want to do is just start tearing things apart. Russ had already taken the strings off for me, which is great, and he had did a little bit of work for us. So this guitar originally was not a string-through guitar. He wanted to change it into a string-through guitar. So he has done that for me already. And that's not something I really like my customers to do. But I've known Russ for quite some time now, and I very, very, very much trust his handiwork, and I rely on him quite a bit for some wood stuff. So he's helped me out with the new studio. If you guys don't know anything about that, come check that out. That's pretty darn cool. He helped me build a lot of acoustic panels. He helped me build the wall for the acoustic room that was previously an entire drum room, which is now half drum, half acoustic. So he knows his stuff. I can rely on him, and I'm okay when he starts drilling into his own guitars and then brings them to me. Russ was going to do all this on his own, but we both thought it would be really cool to kind of just show people a process and show people what's going on with this. So something I thought of a little too late was doing a sound test. So we don't have a before, but we'll certainly plug this in some other time and play an after once it gets set up and everything. I don't think we're going to have time to do that tonight, but we'll definitely get some tests in. And the reason why I really want to do that is because we're not just putting in any pickups, we are putting in Traverse custom guitar pickups. So these are my spanky wanky pickups that I put in Tellys for a nice spanky country tone. And they are hand wound. They are made in the USA with all USA parts. Got a little steel wool in that.
That's the quality.
So these are to my specs. I do not hand wind my pickups because I do not have time to do that. But I have a gentleman that I rely on out of state who does a amazing job doing this. And they are hand wound to specific specs. So if you want these pickups, come see me. I sell a lot of pickups, a lot of pickups. Let's set this right over here, and we have our bridge pickup as well. So big, huge brass plate. Again, all USA materials. We have Alnico 5 magnets in this guy and various other specs that I could list off that don't necessarily really mean anything unless you are a pickup guy. So one funky thing you might notice about this, and a lot of people who have opened up a Telecaster before might have noticed too, is this Telecaster pickup has 3 wires coming off of it, and that is not the norm. And chances are when we open this guy up, if I remember correctly, I wasn't using 3 wires on these pickups because I wasn't building these pickups. So the third wire is actually another ground. So what I do with these pickups is I have a third wire attached here to ground the metal casing so that there isn't any extra noise that we don't need. So that's what you'll see with this. There's actually 2 grounds and a live running off this instead of just a ground and a live like most pickups. So we have the string through ferrule put on. These ferrule plates are awesome. I'm a big fan of the plate. I just like the way it looks, and it also, especially for somebody who's never done it before, it leaves a little room for error underneath. So if you're ever looking to drill into your own guitar body and you were putting string through ferrules in and you went, oh my gosh, they're a little off center, well, worry not. You can always put a plate on it and hide your mistakes. Luthierism 101 is hide your mistakes. Wood's not perfect, so it's never going to respond perfectly. But why don't we start tearing this bad boy apart? So I'm going to start here with a plate. You guys let me know if this is too loud. My bad, Hogan. What'd you think of Rockfield pickups? Wow, I hate saying bad things about stuff. Rockfield pickups are decent pickups for the price. They, again, most of them are just the standard pickups that come, if I remember correctly, they come in the Michael Kelly guitars. What you're paying for a Michael Kelly guitar and what you're getting is a very, very, very good trade-off. So much so that I started carrying Michael Kelly guitars in here. So Rockfield pickups are great. I'm biased towards my own, but I've actually had, and I wouldn't be saying this if it wasn't true, I've had at least 3 or 4 people in the last 6 months bring me Michael Kelly guitars to replace their Rockfield pickups with custom hand wound pickups. So there is a very measurable difference. Again, Rockfield pickups, the ones that are in most of the Michael Kelly guitars, and that's what I assume that you're going to be talking about. They're okay for the price. They do what they're supposed to do, which is provide a decent sound at a decent price. It's just hard to beat something that's hand wound, especially when you're buying factory made, mass produced pickups. You're just never going to get that exact measurement on every pickup that you want to get. So, will Rockfield pickups do? Absolutely. Would I gig with them? Yeah. Yeah, I would gig with them. Sorry, all these wires are cut because, again, Russ was going to do this already. So normally we would know what this is supposed to look like, but we're going to take a quick look at this though. So, but Rockfield pickups, they definitely do the job for the price they are. If you had Rockfield pickups, but you were just wondering, well, should I upgrade? My personal opinion, yeah, I would upgrade them. Not because they're necessarily bad, but because there's just a lot of better stuff out there that can really give you more expressive tones, better highs, better mids, etc. So, all right, so going to this guy here. So, I mentioned cheap electronics. This is what the majority of any cheap guitar is going to look like on the inside, including my cheap guitars that I used to make, which I do not make anymore for whatever that's worth. Cheap Chinese switch, mini pots, which in my opinion don't matter if they're mini or they're full size. Some people have to have full size. Some people think full size sounds better. Some people think mini sound better. My ear does not hear a distinction. If you put a good quality set of pickups with the right resistor in a guitar, I can't hear a difference. I hate them and I have a Michael Kelly. Well, Steve, I kind of understand. Definitely bring them in sometime. I'm just gonna go ahead and assume it's two humbuckers. That's usually the case for the Michael Kellys. So if you want to talk humbuckers, we certainly can, man. Certainly can. So, as I was saying, so the small pots, in my opinion, I can't hear a difference. I hear a difference when you're using a different resistor, and I hear a difference when you're using lower quality wiring, and I hear a difference when you are using lower quality pickups. The pot size, I don't know. But everybody has their own flavor. Everybody's ears are different. I don't know what you hear. So, normally on a pickup swap, we would take this all apart and exchange the pots and the switch and all that fun stuff, but we're actually not going to do that because if you could see off to the side here, we have a pickup that Russ cut himself as well, which is actually going to act as our new plate. So he's pre-drilled the holes for us and everything. So this is our new plate. And Russ, are you still in the chat? Can you give a hi? So I know you're here because I do have a couple questions for you. This is our new plate, so we don't have to disassemble this plate and then reuse parts or anything like that. We're just going to keep this the way it is because who knows, maybe somebody has a telly that the plate needs to be replaced and the electronics need to be replaced, but it's for an 8-year-old. They just need something cheap and quick. We can probably use this. Hey, I was wondering if you want this plastic film off your pick guard before we put everything in there. That's all. So I was also wondering if you could make me a drink because I forgot my other bottle of whiskey at home and all I have is this Traverse City whiskey. So all right, so we'll pull off. Will do. So, this looks pretty cool. I don't know. if we can get some shout outs for what Russ did on this. I don't know. You guys let me know.
Good job, Russ.
I think it's an awesome looking pick guard. It's very similar to a pick guard that the red guard looks great. Yeah. Yeah. It's very similar to a pick guard that Russ helped me make for somebody else's Telecaster. He might be watching too. Also a very, very old customer from a while ago, Barry, where we did a full cut right here though.
Reminds me of those slap bracelets from when you were a kid. That probably doesn't help, but it's what it reminds me of.
Yeah. It's going after the old deluxe telly styles though. That's what it's going after. So
You can tell.
yeah. But you drink beer
I do.
and you help with comments and stuff.
I do.
Yeah.
Russ said, I will be delighted too. So there's your latest comment.
What did I ask him?
I don't remember.
Oh yeah, he's making me a drink.
Oh, yeah. There
Yeah, see, we're too
Okay, so
drunk.
no drink.
Too drunk to taste this chicken, man. All right,
Anyways.
let's take more stuff off. Also, you can ask me more questions. Why don't you go ahead and mute the mic while I'm using the screwdriver?
Yeah, I can do that.
I mean, I had to.
Are you done now?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Do you want me to mute it again?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, one minute.
All right, so as I mentioned before, we're probably going to see pickup with 2 wires. Here it is, pickup with 2 wires. We have our hot and we have our ground. The ground's black and this, which is not as obvious as you would think because I have seen way too much stuff out of China with these swapped around. Go China. But it's affordable. So I'm curious if you're still... Make another template. Sweet. I'll play and let you do the work. Fair. Nice to see you again, though, Stevie-O. We got that Michael Kelly acoustic with your name on it still. I had somebody in here the other day looking at it, buddy. But Hogan, if you're still here, which model Michael Kelly did you pick up?
He's not going to see it for
That's
30
fine.
to 40 seconds.
Oh, I don't know. I get it. Oh, I get it. Hey, look. It's a guitar.
Weird.
Not weird. So, we have a pickup for sale if anybody's looking for a white Telecaster pickup or pick guard. We got one for sale. $5. Gently used. Russ is too busy playing all of his other guitars. He's too busy building all those other guitars too. That's why you don't use electric tools on guitars. My goodness, guys. Guitaring 101. In all seriousness, so this is a Tac Life cordless screwdriver SDP60DC. It's just a little battery screwdriver. It is not a drill. It cannot drill through wood. It's not powerful enough to do so. That is why I'm comfortable using it on guitars. I would never use a drill for pickguard screws or anything like that. You will absolutely strip a guitar out very easily doing so, or strip a screw out very easily doing so. And as my buddy here so pointed out, the drill in the corner here.
It is an example of what not to use.
Well, this isn't going to be used on screws. This is actually going to be used in the future because something Russ didn't know is we're going to upgrade these pots here, and the pots that I have are higher quality pots with a bigger thread. So we're gonna have to open up these holes a little bit to fit the new pots in.
Should
So
I ruin the surprise for us?
no.
He said we have the classic thing.
Ooh, I have a Patriot Decree in the really cool red finish, and Barry, who just like the stream, really wants it. He should come and buy it. And then you didn't see it pop up, did you?
No.
And I have a really great acoustic in there right now with just a really, really cool finish. And we had a 12 string, and also that's gone. But we will be bringing some more in. All of the Traverse Music funds have been going towards streaming equipment and studio equipment. So it's been fun. It's the longest screw in the world. Alrighty. Righty. So, just a couple things right here to kind of point out and show people. Original pickup. You can see the magnets are put into a very cheap piece of plastic here. There is there's no way this is real brass. It's some sort of plastic with some alloy material in it, a big fat gross magnet here, some really thin cheap wiring, and then this really cheap fabric strap. Oh, sorry, not looking at the camera. Fabric strap they wrap around the wires. So it's very cheap, it's very plastic, but it doesn't sound terrible. And somebody has to make cheap guitars, and somebody has to make cheap pickups, because not everybody wants to upgrade to custom stuff right away. So, a few differences. Our materials are not plastic. That's not a plastic. That's actually the, I don't even remember what the name of it. It's very fabric-like, but also very hard at the same time. An actual big copper plate. It's heavier, it's bigger. This is all waxed as well when wrapping. These are also wax potted. Magnets as well. And you don't have the big gross magnet at the back. So, fun. If you've replaced pickups for a Tele V4, you know that this bridge pickup goes into the bridge. Most guitars, it doesn't work like that. In fact, almost every other guitar, it does not work like that. But these sit in the bridge, and the first thing I want to do is make sure that our holes line up to make sure we can use this bridge, and we can. It's rare when that isn't the case, but it happens. I do want to talk about the bridges a little bit, some benefits and some of the upgrade. The first thing to look at here is this is what they call the style is kind of an ashtray style bridge. And the reason why they call it an ashtray is because it actually looks kind of like an old ashtray here. See? It's got the lip. You just put your cigarette on there, tap it off. Some people love these. Some people hate them. I'm very indifferent about them. I mean, I can play with them, but I prefer not to have an ashtray bridge. Couple reasons. Reason number one, if I want to palm mute, this lip is in the way. Reason number two, these lips here help keep all of my dirt and germs on the bridge, and that's very annoying for somebody who sweats as much as I do when playing live shows. Another thing about this bridge are the saddles. You can see there's only 3 saddles on this bridge, which means when we do intonation, this string, the E and the B string here, are intonated together. There's no intonating them separately. So you have to pick the middle and the best of both worlds when intonating the 2 high strings, the 2 middle strings, and the 2 low strings. You can see on this bridge, every string will have its own saddle. So each string has its own screw, and each string can have its own intonation. And we can describe intonation on a completely different video when we're doing setup and stuff. I don't think I'm going to get as far as a setup on this video, but just want to bring that up. Separate saddles are great. Another big thing too here is this bridge is very, very light. I I would say easily a third of the weight of this new bridge. This bridge here is a bridge made by Goto. It's also only a string through bridge. When I say string through, I mean it's got a string through the body into these holes up through the saddles. There is no way to string it through here. So the profile is much, much lower than the profile on this bridge, which you can string through here, and which this guitar was initially built to do. So
Steve says he's sorry it is the Patriot Supreme instead. Beautiful guitar, best action he's ever played, but the sound sucks.
But I think we already talked about those pickups. I'm telling you, man, bring them on in, upgrade them to some Traverse pickups. So, also, you haven't played one of my guitars if that's the best action you've ever played. Or you haven't had your guitar set up by me if that's the best action you've ever played. So, Michael Kelly does get some pretty low action. I will give them that. So, on both acoustics and electric guitars. So, we have a few things to do here. The first thing is to line up our 6 holes with our 4 holes so that we know that we're going to be lined up here. I'm going to trust that Russ drilled those properly. I do trust that he drilled them properly. And then we're going to see if these 4 holes also line up with this. And in order to properly do that, we need to pull all of these out. Hey, buddy.
Yo.
Would you mind coming over here and pulling these out while I do some more talking?
Sure.
I appreciate you. So, this is something we don't want to use the electric drill on at all, because if we strip this, it sucks to fix. So, yeah, just like that. We're going to pull all those out. And you can just set them all...
Right there?
Actually, let me set them all right over here. So... One thing we are going to throw in here as well is a new ground. We have a ground and a live wire coming from our output already. Yeah, they don't need to match it perfectly, so we can just use whichever screw for whatever. We want to also run a ground that we can attach to a pot to come up here and sit under the bridge as well. So while he's doing that, I'm going to go ahead and take some of that black wire that was literally just right here. Beautiful.
I'm a good helper.
You are a fantastic helper, friend. I'm even going to buy you your beer next time.
Thank you. It makes me sound, I don't know, needy.
And alcoholic-y.
Yeah, but I'm neither of those.
Kind of needy. This wire you're going to notice is also the same wire that I'm using with the pickups. This nice, thick cloth wire with the wax on it. Couple reasons I use this. A, it's very easy to work with. Thanks, man. Very, very easy to work with. So I can bend this, I can bend this, I can bend this. It all stays. The second great thing is when you strip the wire, you don't have to strip it. You can pull this cloth straight back, and you can see right here, kind of, focus. Focus. Well, you can see enough that when I pull this back, there is some wire right there. So.
I did it.
Thanks, bud.
I'm here to help.
So you don't actually have to strip anything. You can just pull it straight back. The other thing, which you will see me do later, is these wind together and braid really, really nicely together. And I will explain why that is so important later. I'm gonna grab a quick drink of water here. You're going to grab a beer, I see.
Yes. Yes, I am.
I should have grabbed me one of my beers in there.
I can do that.
Oh, thanks, friend.
You gotta hook up the church key though.
I don't know where the church key went.
I think it's on the left there. Probably under some stuff. One of your beer. You got a pickle in a bag?
No, I mean a Stone Arch.
Ah, starch. That is definitely not a pickle in a bag.
But the Stone Arch is a Rust bought beer for me. So
Promotional break, Lakefront Brewery IPA, delicious. I have to get it in there. There it is.
yeah, if we can get sponsored by beer.
That would be sweet.
How awesome. That would be like
That would be
really
cool.
cool. Like,
Yeah.
I love Lakefront Brewery. I don't like IPAs, but I really like Lakefront Brewery.
I think Lakefront Brewery helps me run this stream better. That's the God's honest truth.
Stone Arch is much more local.
True. Well, Lakefront probably has more money. Well, that's one off the rest.
Yeah. Ooh, how lucky are we? Everything lines up perfect. As of right now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to put the pickup in here and set that back down just to make sure that with the pickup in here, that this shape is big enough for all the holes to still line up while we're in there. So, while I'm doing this, I just want to ask if you guys would please go out and like us on Facebook, like us on YouTube, subscribe on YouTube if you can do those things. We're trying to get to 1,000 subscribers on YouTube. There's a lot of great benefits for me, and a lot of great things I can start doing with my streams once I hit that 1,000 subscribers. We're at like 23. So we got a long ways to go. But I remember when I was at 23 likes on Facebook, and we're over 1,000 on that now too. So, all right, we gotta find the right screws for this bad boy. Did not think so. Russ, I think you kept some screws on me, buddy. But I know the guy who makes these pickups, so I should have some screws for them. I thought I had them close. Hey, bud, did you see a small bag of screws laying off?
This one?
Nope, the one underneath that, though.
I'm really earning my pay today.
Yeah, dude.
Not that you would have had a helper if that happened.
Yeah, well, good thing I had that sip of beer, so my aim was off.
Yeah, right.
Russ would like to get you a beer as well.
Hey, I'm fine with that.
Yep, these are the right ones. A lot of people like to use springs. Well, that springs are...
Steve asks, when you get a lot of static noise from the tuning knobs, are the wires corroded?
No. It usually has nothing at all to do with the wires and everything to do with the pots that you're using. The most common reason for scratchy pots is dust buildup on a contact plate. And I should break apart a pot sometime to try to show people this. But your generic pot here, what happens when you twist this knob is you spin a plate around on top of another plate. And what you're hearing from the scratchiness is either a lack of lubrication on that plate or dust buildup on that plate. So what you need to do is get them cleaned out or get them completely replaced. So that's your with static noise. I'm assuming you mean like the scratchiness that's most common with those. So if you bring a guitar by for a setup, that's one of the things we check. That's one of the things we do all the time. We always clean and lubricate all the pots when we do our setups. So I keep saying we.
That's okay.
Like other people work. I mean, I do get some. I shouldn't say other people don't work here. I get help. I can't complain. But good question, though. Great question. Thank you. So I don't know if anybody else out there is drinking, but if you are, what are you drinking? You should come up with questions like that to put in the chat on occasion.
Okay.
You guys can't see him, but he looks at me. Put the camera on my face. Get the face. He goes, okay. Yeah. And you could tell he was never, ever intending on doing it.
No, not at all.
Okay.
Okay.
Check out that merch.
Were you flicking the hat?
Yeah.
All right, do it again. You're on camera.
Yeah.
There you go. Well, we just lost all of our viewers from that.
You are welcome, Steve. All 5 of our viewers right now. I actually don't know how accurate that is, though, because I don't know if it's counting Facebook or if it's counting YouTube or...
I think it's off by a factor of
I hope so.
Yeah.
Probably the subscriber count too is
Correct.
easily off by 1,000 or two.
Yeah. Yeah. That's YouTube 101.
Yeah, you're always better than
Everyone else.
what everyone says you are. Yeah.
Oh. I chose the wrong option.
That's why you're spending your Friday night with me.
Yes. Yes.
And the bourbon old fashioned sounds so good. Gas station's still open.
Bottle of red for supper. Now just a couple of Busch Lights. Hogan, I like the way you think. Bourbon old fashioned does sound good.
A bottle of red for supper. The Busch Lights, what do they call that? That's the old pork chop in a can supper, isn't that? Have you heard that before?
No.
Yeah, it's a pork chop in a can. That's an old saying. Hey, you young whippersnappers, you.
Yes. Young whippersnapper.
Somebody more my age, like Russ, would know that expression. You know that. A Busch Light. That's a pork chop in a can. When people would just use it as, like, drink it as a meal.
Yeah.
Because
I mean,
it's got approximately the same calories as pork chop.
We get the idea. Yes.
Well, you do
because-
now.
Yes.
You do now, because I explained it to you.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
Jesus.
You love being here.
They intermission time yet.
No, but this rag break is brought to you by Cintas, who stopped by with a new bag of rags.
Bag of rag.
Bag of rag.
Oh, Black Betty. Bag of rags.
That happened.
Yes. Ham in every can. Says Hogan.
Yeah.
Latte. Ham in every can.
Well, there's a ham beer, too.
Ham.
And we can still line it up. You probably can't see that, but we can still line it up. Song I wrote for you, since you dedicated your Friday to me.
Okay.
All right, couple things I am going to do with this. These wires are obviously like way longer than we ever needed them to be, but that's on purpose so that we have extra wire to cut off and we're never going to be too short. I'm going to install these knowing that Russ is the kind of guy that's never going to throw this guitar away or replace these pickups. So we're going to cut them as short as we possibly can. But before we do that, I am going to twist these wires up like this.
Barry asks, is this one of your kits?
Barry, no, this is not one of my kits. And the reason why it's not is because the body is pre-painted on it. So these were from a vendor in China. I mean, I don't know how else to say it without, like, I don't know. And they give you fake names when you work with people over there because you can't pronounce their real names. So they're
Are
like,
they COVID guitars then?
no, it was before COVID.
Okay.
Well, before people knew about COVID. Before the government invented COVID.
Oh.
Yeah.
This
We're
is-
getting a political stream going,
Yeah,
aren't we?
this is awful.
No, it's not one of my kits. In fact, I haven't ordered a kit in a long time. We haven't had anybody interested in any of those kit demo things. But I am sure I'm going to bring them back eventually when we're not so busy with the streams and with the studio. And it's been hectic over here lately. Hence the 9:30 p.m. streaming. So, all right. So,
It's also been 1 week.
yeah. Prepping for it took a bit of time. So you see right here, we have this beautifully twisted cable. There are a couple reasons for this. One, it's really easy to feed it through the tiny little hole that's drilled into this guitar. That's not the real reason. The biggest reason is because this is a single coil pickup. And the other pickup we have is also a single coil pickup. And those pickups tend to give you a hum. And it's known as a 60 cycle hum or a single coil hum. It's a hum that's pretty unavoidable unless you purchase noiseless pickups, but you lose a lot of the clarity from the single coil tone when you're using noiseless pickups because it's essentially a fake humbucker at that point. So it doesn't sound exactly like a real single coil. You get a lot more hum from a pickup like this than you get from a pickup like this. The reason why is because we're going to have thicker wires, and when we wind them together like this live wire, the white one, is less than an inch long before getting crossed over by the ground wire on every single twist, which means it can act as an antenna way, way less than one of the thin wires that isn't twisted around. So a lot of hum will come from these acting as antennas, picking up that extra sound from lights. Depending on where you're playing, it could be fluorescent lights, it could be an old bar with old par cans. I mean, LED lights even give off stuff. I'm not saying this gets rid of it, but it will reduce it significantly in most cases. I do this with all of my single coil pickups, including the ones I put in strats. So,
Steve asks another question. I have a PV amp. When I play through it, it fades in and out. Do you know why?
There's a lot of things that could be. The first question I have for you, is it a tube amp or is it a solid state amp?
I have an idea for why that might be. When you play louder and softer on the guitar, it can sound like it's fading in and out.
We'll see what he says about that. We'll see what he has to say about that.
Sounds good.
I guess I'm the one who said you can talk. Right?
Yeah, you are.
Yeah.
This is your response.
Yeah. So, you guys saw me cut this ground wire a little earlier. We're also going to feed this through with this wire at some point. Also, kind of getting it all set up. Right thing, put it on a cloth. And it's not going to fit through that way, but we'll pull it through this way. So the hole is very tight. It wasn't made for these cloth wires, but it is still big enough for me to pull this through. So what I'm going to do is actually pull the cable all the way through this way, and then I'm going to start to feed it. Blindly. I'm gonna try this again this way. It's too hard to see without you guys being able to see in the camera. I'm gonna start feeding the wire through, and then as I push this ground wire that's separate from the other wires, I'm gonna pull those other wires so it kind of feeds it all at the same time. Really the easiest way to pull bulk wires through a guitar. It's out. I just can't grab it. There we go. Yay! And it's through. I like to leave a little bit of wire for the bottom of the cavity here so we're not stretching anything too tight. Just going to double, triple, quadruple check that the holes line up. They do. The next thing I want to do is position this ground wire. The ground wire we're using here needs to ground out the plate. And all we have to do for that is pull this tight and give it some wire to catch onto. Now that wire, when we screw this plate down, it's going to be under this plate and we'll be grounding out that. So our 4 screws we have somewhere back in. I did not tighten that down all the way. I'm not going to do that at all until I have all 4 screws in. Just makes it way easier to install all 4 screws. So, are there small gauge wires? Any?
Hogan asks,
Are they small gauge?
they are small gauge wires. Any worry of breaking them during pulling?
These wires right here aren't very small gauge whatsoever, so I don't have any worries of these breaking. I'm not pulling them with the pickup, and I'm not pulling them without holding the other side. I would never hold this and pull here. That would be a little discerning. But I have the wire here and I'm trying to just pull the wire through a hole. We're not putting any pressure where it's connecting to the pickup. So when we pull like that, that's not doing anything. If we were pulling down here where the pickup actually connects, these are very, very tiny wires. I'm not even try to get the camera to focus on them. Yes, there would be concern about that with the copper lead wires because I think they're 22 AWG copper. I don't recall off the top of my head. It's been a long time. So no, we just don't want to be pulling them either with the pickup or holding the pickup and pulling them without letting the pickup move with it. So. This thing's gonna die. It's gonna die. We're gonna have to use our hands. Ugh. Do you mind running and grabbing me a big Phillips from?
Sure. No, I do not.
Thank you. We'll still line up. That's nice and tight. That ground wire is nice and tight. And we have our pickup wires feeding through there very nicely. One thing to keep in mind, not every guitar, for a Telecaster specifically, thanks so much, I'm definitely going to use that more. That definitely wasn't a waste of time. Sounds like a waste of time.
Lovely.
Nah, I might.
Mm-hmm.
Some Telecasters don't feed on this diagonal right here straight into this cavity. Some of them actually feed into here and then out this way. And had this been one of those guitars and I put this on, I would have had to take it right back off. So if you decide to try to take on something like this, make sure that you're paying attention to that. I've done it. We all do it when we start out. Got to start somewhere. Cheers.
Gross.
I can't believe we've been streaming for an hour.
Me either, because you've been streaming for 53 minutes.
Your mother must be proud.
She is.
She is, though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's weird. Unexpected.
So, another weird thing about pickups with tellies. The neck pickup is not held in with your normal everyday thing. It's held in with the pickguard and a couple screws. That is the case on some Strats, most Strats, but it's not the case on every guitar. It's just kind of unique that this guitar doesn't really have anything holding pickups in other than other parts. There are a lot of guitars that screw right into the body for pickups, or they have pickup rings that screw into the body, and this guitar doesn't utilize either of those. So, I'm hoping, Russ, you gave me the screws for this guy. I need you again.
Okay.
In either an ORT, KOT bag behind you. You want to just jump in there and see if there's any bags with screws in them. Little baggies like this. Yeah, let me take a look at that. One. We're good.
You're good?
Yep.
Okay.
Got the two I need. What are the difference between your pickups and humbuckers? I have pickups that are humbuckers. So humbuckers aren't a brand or anything like that. Humbuckers are simply a design that was created, which is putting two single coils together in opposite directions to eliminate that hum that you get from single coil pickups. It gives it a bigger output. It gives it a richer tone, but you lose some clarity, and you lose that twanginess, you lose that spankiness, you lose that what has so much been referred to as the Stratocaster sound or the Telecaster sound. When you think of humbuckers, you think of you think of bands like AC/DC. Those are almost primarily humbucker pickups they're using, although they do go P90s, which is another type of single coil pickup. But I have humbucker pickups. They are shaped and look just like humbuckers. Again, all USA parts. I also have a line of PAF humbucker pickups, which if you want to learn more about that, just Google PAF pickups. They rock. A lot of people are still seeking those. Mine are made with same era parts and materials, all from the USA. The biggest difference not between pickups, my pickups and humbuckers, but between my pickups and other pickups, especially the mass-produced ones and the ones made in China, is the materials are much higher quality. The attention to detail is much higher too, because these pickups are literally hand wound. When they hand wind a pickup, they put the pickup on this spool piece of machinery, and it rotates, and they have this tiny little thin copper wire that they have to gently, carefully move back and forth to wind that pickup perfectly. Because it's also on such a smaller scale, we can test the resistance on the pickups on every single pickup to make sure that they're matching, and we can match pickups with each other. Different positions usually traditionally have different resistances. And different style pickups have different resistances. You can change resistances with thanks, Courtney. You can change resistances with different gauge wires. You can change resistances um, with different pickups. Sorry, magnets in the pickups as well. You can also change resistance by the way you pot the magnets inside the pickup. So a lot of my pickups are wax potted. That means those big magnets that go into the pickup are surrounded with wax, and inside this big wound pickup is a bunch of wax in there. And depending on how much wax you put in there also depends on the tone you get. So I have pickups where they're wax potted, but they're not wax potted fully because I want those to really squelch and scream easily. Those pickups purposely don't have as much wax as the other ones that are supposed to be as clean as possible for humbuckers. So so many different things go into the tone of the different pickups, which is why there's so many different brands and there's so many different types, and people claim to have so many different things. Um, as far as my humbuckers go, I have three basic humbuckers. I have my vintage classic humbuckers, I have my vintage sweet humbuckers, and then I also have my PAF humbuckers. And the PAF again are ones that were patented. It's a big long story. Definitely a good read if you can Google that at some point. The PAF are probably the most grungy, dirty rock and roll pickups out of the humbuckers that I have. The cleans are supposed to be a very clean as humbuckers can come. They are quite clean. And then the sweet ones are supposed to have a really gentle mid-range and high-range blend. So what kind of do you put in the telly to get that twang sound? The telly is getting single coil pickups. And the easiest way to tell the difference between a single coil pickup and a humbucker, otherwise known as a double coil pickup, is the row of pickup. So there's one here that's a single coil pickup. Eamon, could you be a friend and grab the bag behind you that says SP90, pull one pickup out of there, and then pull one pickup out of one of the other bags in the end. So So to get the spankiness we want in this guitar,
P90.
we are using single coil pickups, and we're using ones that are wound with a very thin gauge. We are using ones that have Alnico 5 pickups, so they have a little bit brighter of an output than, say, an Alnico 3 or an Alnico 2. And they are just single coils, so you don't have the resistance of the second coil there, adding extra mid-range and taking away from that high end. So these will be spanky, these will be punchy. This one is also wound a little more than most standard Telecasters, just to give it a little more beef. So, another type of single coil pickup is a P90, and you see this again, it's just one row. It's a different design. This one happens to just have a clean cover plate on it, but you can see here the copper wires that are used to wind the pickups, and then I doubt this is going to work, but we'll try to get right here. We're not going to see it, are we?
Mm.
I mean, the wires are so thin and so delicate. You can see there's still a little bit of wax here.
You can probably zoom on the stream.
I'm not sure, honestly, but
Oh, we can't.
the magnets are finished here. They pop up a little bit. So this P90 is a single coil. It's going to be quite a bit brighter than regular P90. Very different sound, more often used in jazz style music and jazz style guitars. You see them in hollow body electrics all the time. I'll give you this back, friend. All right. And you saw there were 2 wires coming off of that one. This pickup is a humbucker. So, this is one of my... Hold on. This came out of the S bag, the VSH bag.
VSH.
Yep, so this is the Sweet pickup. I was able to tell for a couple things. The size of the pickups that I use in here, the fact that they're all level, and then the screw heads that I use on these two. So you'll see there's 2 rows of pickups here. Double coil or humbucker. This is the active row of pickups. So if you just had that row of pickups, this would be a single coil pickup. When we add that, we cancel that hum, hence the name humbucker. And we add a bunch of mid-range, we add a bunch of low end. We muddy it up a little bit more, but we get more punch as well. So there is a very great place for humbuckers in the world. There's a great place for single coils in the world. This one particularly, I have wired up with 5 wires. This is because this pickup is made where I can put a coil tap in here. So if I wire this up to a tone pot that has a switch on it, I can actually turn off this whole set and turn it into a single coil pickup. So when you have pickups with tone knobs that pop in and out, that's essentially what you're doing. There's 5 wires coming out of that pickup, just like in this one, and they're effectively turning off this row and only using this pickup. But you'll notice a lot of times when you do that, you lose... Well, first of all, it never really sounds truly like a single coil pickup, and you lose a lot of volume. It's because you're literally cutting your pickup in half, and it's really tough to alleviate that without boosters in the guitars and other various things. So, quick little rundown on pickups. So, take a look. Oh, okay. No problem at all. No problem. So, single coil pickup. We're going to braid this like we're at camp and your friend Steve wants to sleep in your soccer jersey. That got too real.
Mm-hmm.
That got way too real.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to braid it because we need to make the antennas go away, essentially, right? And the only reason why I say braid is because there's 3 here. So when you first start out, you want to be gentle up here at the top. And if you don't know how to braid, ask your daughter or your wife or I don't know, your boyfriend maybe. Guess I shouldn't judge, right? I'm braiding. Nobody taught me how to do it. Pretty darn easy. We do need a tight braid though, because this guitar was built with. We're gonna have to drill bigger holes, I bet. But this guitar was built with smaller holes. I didn't drill the holes out; they were pre-drilled, and they were meant for smaller wires at the time. So. Oh, yeah, I didn't say Steve because of you, Steve. That was just a random.
Uh-huh.
What show was that? I don't remember what show it was in. They made that reference, and it was basically they did a flashback to the main character's friend from camp, whose name happened to be Steve, who was in love with him, but he never knew. Um, so I don't know, maybe Scrubs, something from the early 2000s. I don't know. Random question for all the billions of people watching. What is your favorite TV show of all time? Not guitar related, but who doesn't love TV? And while you're answering that, please, 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 please check out that merch store. Um, I've been wearing merch almost every single day, and I am, fond of my own logo, but I do like this stuff. I'm gonna mute this while I. Scrubs is up there. Thank you so much. That is a fantastic show, isn't it? Can you mute the mic while I rip this off so it's not terrible sound?
Sure.
Holy crap, that's shiny.
Beaver.
Like, leave it to Beaver? Is that what he means by Beaver?
I don't know.
Is there another show called Beaver?
I don't know.
You have a laptop in front of you.
I do.
Boop. He probably means the Angry Beavers. Remember that show growing up?
No.
What? You don't remember Angry Beavers?
No.
I think it was on Nickelodeon.
My parents didn't allow me to watch television.
That's right. Or have friends.
Correct. That's exactly why I didn't have it. Terrible.
Yeah, it wouldn't be the first time I called CPS on your mom or your dad.
Yikes. Yikes.
In all fairness, I still call your mom and dad to this day.
Yeah. And they still answer your calls sometimes.
Yeah. I lost the other part, so I'm just gonna grab a new one.
You may want to think of like Marie Kondoing this place, you know?
Oh, man. I really, really, really want it to be clean, but I know it's just gonna be a disaster in a day later, like literally a day later.
Yeah.
Really, really, really want it to be clean.
Might be able to pay my wife to do it.
You're gonna pay my wife to do it, man. Everybody kind of develops their own style and figures out how to do this the easiest. I don't know. Putting telly pickups in isn't ever really that fun. Another reason I don't use those big springs too is because they're harder to put in when you do that. But that seemed to have lined up really nicely. Well done, Russ. Here's that part I was missing. Can't get my fat fingers in there, so I'm just going to use this to kind of push that wire through a little better. This is the worst part. These cheaper guitars, sometimes when they drill through the holes, they leave a lot of wood splinters. How do you drill from side to side? Ooh, couple good question. There are a few tricks to that. One is the trick of very, very, very long bits. I don't know if I can show you now. This is like this, but for starters, you see the hole right in front of the neck in that neck pickup spot. So the first hole was drilled with the neck off through there and into this hole. Then the second hole was drilled at a downward angle with a really long bit then into this deeper part. So this isn't very deep here. It's just deep enough to hold the wire, and it's in a downward angle to a much deeper cavity. There are also things called flex bits out there. I don't ever use them. I don't think they're kind of scary to use because you don't have a ton of control over a flex bit. So I shy away from that. I would much rather use a long bit and take my time than use a flex bit. All right, so we should be peeking out there. Grab my handy friend. There were so many things I was going to accomplish on the string that are never going to happen. All right, so again, I can pull the wire as long as I'm not pulling tension here. So I'm pulling here, and I'm not giving bad tension, if that makes sense. That's as far as I'm going to go on this because I want to be able to flip this. Oops, pulled a little too far. I want to be able to flip this upside down. So I have the wires I need here to start setting up my pots and everything, and I know everything is going to fit. So one last check for that, which was the purpose of putting this in here. That's going to sit flat. That's going to line up there. Go ahead and shove this into the cavity. Boop. Boop, boop, boop. Boom, boom, boom. Wow. Ross, that is a fantastic looking pickguard, brother. Big fan. So I'm kind of running out of time on the stream here because I don't want it to go super crazy long. I also have lessons starting at 8:30 tomorrow morning, and I have a gig tomorrow night. If you are from this area and watching and you want to come out and see my band, it's called Moonlight Bandits. We start at 7 p.m. and we are at the Wolf River Bar and Grill in Fremont, right off the Wolf River, next to Honolulu's. Show starts at 7. It's always a fun time. You are welcome, Russ. Oh, look at this. No, I'm going to still show a couple things, though, but I appreciate that. So, I do want to show just 2 or 3 quick things real quick. Since we had questions on pots, I want to answer a couple questions with pots. Russ, I'm going to need the guitar for a little bit longer. And I just want to run over a couple quick things as well. So, can you mute my mic real quick? I got to get up and grab a couple things.
Do you want to take an intermission?
Yeah, we'll do it like a really quick. We'll be right back in like 2 minutes, guys. All right. I don't know if that was 2 minutes or not. So I'm standing here. Pots, scratchy pots. I know this isn't installed, but it's going to be a very similar situation. If you want to bring your scratchy pot to me, please go ahead. This is a brand new pot. This is 250K. 250K pots are generally used with single coil pickups. 500K pots are generally used with genuinely used with humbucker pickups. Thanks, man. I really appreciate it. So I have a lot of fun doing this. So I really hope this turns into a big thing, and even if it doesn't, I mean, it's a great way to spend my Friday night when I don't have shows and stuff. Um, so also, I mean, sports are cool, man. Come on. So yeah, we got a scratchy pot here. I doubt you're going to hear this, but I'm going to try really hard because we have a rather nice microphone. Okay, ready? Did anybody hear how scratchy that was? It's very unlikely. I'm going to keep going. Just let me know if you heard that. Brand new pots often sit in warehouses for a really long time and they get dusty themselves. And I used to always make the mistake of throwing my pots into guitars when I was building them and then being like, man, I can't believe this brand new pot's all scratchy. What the heck's going on? It happened a ton. And then I started going, well, why don't I just clean them before I put them in the guitar?
Makes sense.
Holy crap.
Good job.
Right?
You can do
I use two things. Oh, so we could hear it. Sweet. The first thing I use is a contact cleaner. If you want bottles of this, just let me know. I can order them. I don't recall how much. Well, this one was $8.99, but I didn't buy this one from my dealer. This was one I bought before I even had vendors and stuff. But I think I get the same kind, and I'm pretty sure it's $8.99 also. It lasts a very long time. Obviously, I've had this for months and months and months. We have an opening right here, and we are going to stick the tube into that opening, and we're going to spray that out with that contact cleaner, right? So let's switch cameras for me if you could, bud. So I like to do it on a rag because it can get messy. Couple quick sprays, and then I'm going to spin that around. So the contact cleaner, it is very fast drying, so that's why I spun it immediately. This is very good for cleaning off dust and contaminants. This does not lubricate. In fact, it kind of does just the opposite of lubricating because it dries so quickly. It's like alcohol, essentially. It dries up and it leaves an even louder pickup. But that louder pickup isn't a dirtier pickup. It's actually a cleaner pickup, and it's a louder pickup, and what you're hearing now is metal on metal sliding constantly. You're not hearing dust and stuff. So this will probably be louder. I'm going to go ahead and run it on the mic again. Hopefully you heard that. It's quite a bit louder. It sounds like I did the exact opposite, right? So, after we've cleaned the pot, we want to go ahead and lubricate it. And there's a lot of people out there that say, don't use WD-40, blah, 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 blah. Use this specialized stuff, yada, yada, yada. WD-40 is fantastic. It works great. But you can't use it as only a cleaner. In fact, I don't use it as a cleaner. I found that technically it's supposed to clean, it's multi-purpose, but what it does best is lubricates. It doesn't really do a great job cleaning. So now that we've cleaned everything full of the debris, we are going to just spray a little tiny bit of this in here, and then we're going to have a lubricated pot that should be nearly silent. You might hear when I put it up to the mic, you might hear me hit the ends of it, But yeah. Did you hear that go away?
Yeah,
That's crazy, right?
that's cool.
All right, here we go.
Nothing.
You will feel a huge difference too. So if you're the kind of person that likes really, really loose pots, like you want to be able to just slap that shut, slap that open, that's a full turn. Like that. That's a full turn. Wide open, wide shut. Busting out a bunch of WD-40 in this thing's the way to go. The only thing you're hearing, that click, if you hear it, that click is just you hitting the edge of the pot. You stopping the pot on the edge. So if you have dirty pots, that's the thing to do. Chances are you're going to have a back cavity on that guitar, if I remember the model correctly. If you pop that off, even if you want to bring it in here with that cavity off already and you want me to just spray it in there real quick, Hogan, just let me know. I have no problem doing that for you. It'd be cool for you, a cool experience for you too, because you can actually feel the difference as we do it. So, anyways, I do that with every single pot I install now. That's huge. Again, we didn't get to near this stuff I wanted to do because we're already sitting at almost an hour and a half. So I do apologize. I plan on doing so much more, but it looks like live streaming just, I didn't even turn on the soldering iron. Live streaming's really going to go anywhere, it looks like. We are going to work more on this guitar. I don't know if we're going to do it live because I want to be able to get this back to Russ in time. One more thing I did want to show you guys actually. Right here. So we have this new pick guard. Okay. And we could see right here there's a hole. There's a hole where a screw used to be. There are a couple things we can do about this hole. We can fill it with super glue and leave it open. We can try to fill it with a paint and a toothpick and then put a finish over it. Or we can come over to Traverse Music where he has colored super glues. And I purchased them from StewMac. And I happen to have a white super glue. And we could fill that hole with super glue that is white. It's never going to disappear, right? Never. But we're going to fill that hole up with white. And it's going to look a heck of a lot better than a big hole there where you could see actual natural wood colors. So, by all means, if you want to buy this stuff and do it yourself, you certainly can. It is pretty pricey for a single bottle of this stuff that you're going to use 7 drips of. If you do, you also want to buy these little fun little drippets. I don't know what they're actually called. Something like that. But this is simply CA with some sort of white pigment in it that somehow does not interact with the super glue. If you've ever tried to like change color of super glue, so colored super glue is awesome if you have the right materials for it. If you try to dye super glue yourself, it looks well, there's a chemical reaction that happens, and if you don't set it like immediately, you're gonna have this big lumpy grossness. It's just not fun. General practices with these pipettes, that's what's called, pipette. When I do this, I try to do this either off of the guitar. The connection for the pipette is over here because there is a chance this pipette could pop off and I could spill glue all over the guitar. Or I take my Cintas rag. This rag is sponsored by Cintas. And I put it as close to the hole as possible. And we're going to just drip the glue in there slowly. There is no reason to do this structurally, unless you were drilling a hole right next to it. Sorry, I'm so quiet. All right. I'm going to try to get the camera down here. And I always put a little bit more, so there's like just a slight little bubble upward of this stuff, because it always sinks in. There's either bubbles above it or it soaks into the wood. This specific super glue is very, very thin, so it's likely going to soak in the wood. We might have to do this a second time, but I'm going to pick up this camera here, which is a terrible idea, move it around a bunch, and show you exactly what we did. All right. Hey, Eamon, could you,
No.
yeah, you want to come hold this right here so we can see the close-up action of this?
Got it.
Yeah, so if we had donations for other cameras, we could be rocking this. And then I guess we'll just see how close we can get. Really not digging that. Are you able to just pick it up on the back end and get a little closer? Whoa.
See? How about that?
All right, that's getting better. So, hopefully it starts focusing. All right. I know I'm sorry that's blurry. I'm sorry that's tough to see. The super glue is already soaked in, so I'm just adding more now. And you can see that, I mean, it doesn't disappear, but it's a huge difference. Yeah. There's still a little spot there, and it looks like some of the wood chipped out a little bit. When a pick guard was either taken off or put on, it happens. It's super common. But this will soak in a little more. It will seep in a little more. I'll add a little bit more. But this is going to at least not make it look super obvious. So if you're up on stage with it, won't be a big deal. Won't be super noticeable. It's tough to see unless you're standing right there. So thank you, bud.
Sure.
I'll take this back from you. We can kind of go all over the disaster of the store that we have. Whew. All right. So, all right. So that's pretty much all I have time for. I wanted to keep it to an hour and a half. I'm gonna keep working on this and spilling super glue on myself. If you guys have any questions at all, you know where to find me. Sorry to be a broken record, but everything helps. Every little donation and every little piece of merchandise you purchase helps a lot. I'm able to upgrade cameras, so I'm not having to do stuff like that. Can you switch cameras for, bud?
Sure.
So I'm able to update cameras. These are really great little 1080p cameras. Each camera, and I currently have two, is a little over $100. The microphone we were able to upgrade this week. Hopefully that sounds a lot nicer. Oh my goodness, I love Ludwig. We're Ludwig dealers if you don't know that already, but that would be super cool, and I know a lot of people that would be truly jealous of that. So I am so interested in that drum set. Hopefully you guys hear a difference with the audio. Thanks, Russ. I know it was really slow paced. This would have been done by now if I wasn't drinking and talking. We upgraded our mic here. Let's see if we can get that in a shot. Check out this. Well, bam. Check out that bad boy.
Yeah, that's much better.
Yeah. Oh, look at that beard. Cool, man. You can switch off again. Unless you want to say hi to the world.
Sure.
I'm just going to leave this alone.
Oh, well, I'm here to help. Oh, God.
Oh, you know.
Yes.
It's nothing to do with the camera.
Yeah.
Just, you know, your face and your personality.
Yeah.
Appreciate it, Steve. Yeah, so I love doing these things. The donations and the merchandise helps a lot. Also, having merch out there is really cool. This hat I'm a huge fan of. It's very Wisconsin. I wear hats all the time. I'll be wearing this tomorrow for my show. Might even have a Traverse Music shirt on. Um, every little bit helps again. If you guys ever need pickup swaps, if you need pickups, I don't just swap out only my pickups. If you have pickups that you're in love with, by all means, like you got this set of 57 Fender pickups that you just don't ever want to get rid of and you want to put them in a different guitar, I'll take care of that. If you got a set of Seymour Duncans that you're in love with, my pickups aren't the best for every single situation. Everybody else has their own flavor. When I say that, I mean you have your ears that like what you like. My pickups are made to try to fit a wide variety of people with all the different flavors of pickups that I have. But I know what I like. There's one set of pickups of mine that I personally love the most, and I gig with them. But that doesn't mean I don't gig with other things. Last week I played with a Dan Electro, the one that I actually showed on stream the night prior. I played with that guitar for a whole set on a gig Saturday night, and totally different pickups, Korean-made guitar, not something I normally play. It sounded fantastic, right through my Line 6 Pod Go. So. You got Seymour Duncans you want to put in. You got DiMarzios you want to put in. Any of that stuff, let me know. If you need some DiMarzios or something like that, let me know too. I can actually get a lot of those pickups as well. If my vendor has them in stock. With COVID, things are tough. I never know. It's 50-50 most of the time. So, as always, setups, repair work, all that stuff is done all the time here. It's what I do best. Now is the perfect time to set up a guitar because we are coming out of winter. And we set up guitars now. They're going to be great until next fall. I do recommend you set up your guitars twice a year, but don't ask for Fishmans though. Well, funny thing, Barry, I actually have Fishman now, but we could talk about that some other time. Um, we also have our studio, which I've mentioned a few times, that is right next door. It is a fairly large room. There's a drum set back there. You can rent it out by the hour to just play with your band, to play with yourself, to be loud, to beat on a drum kit. If you don't have, I said play with yourself, yeah. Um, if you don't have a drum kit at home, or you live in an apartment and you can't play a real kit and you want to go and play a drum kit for a while, I have one. It's all part of the room rental. There's also a 22 input Soundcraft Signature MTK mixer in there with two 12-inch powered speakers. Your whole band can start running through that board, practice. You got some demos you want to put down. You got some originals you want to record. We do all that stuff as well. For fees, we have really great microphones, as you can hear tonight. I mean, this isn't even set up or running with any reverb. We're not putting any compression or anything on this microphone, and it's fantastic. I can't imagine what we can do in an isolation booth with effects and stuff like this. So, fantastic microphone. Warm Audio is the brand, for whatever it's worth. If you want to do some research on them, they are amazing. Highly recommend. And I also use a company called Aston microphones as well. Both those brands are out of the UK. Both have great refs. But lots of stuff going on. We have rental programs starting. We have band and orchestra instruments starting to come in. We have band instrument repair work we have coming in. So many things going on. Lots of stuff to take advantage of, especially the rentals and stuff. I just set up today a black Ludwig kit with a nice hat and a crash ride for rent. We can rent that out to you for $40 a month. After a year, if you rent it for a whole year, it's yours to keep it. It's used. It's refurbished, but it's a great sounding kit. Big, deep 22-inch bass. It's got that big, Luddy bass kick that everybody wants out of Ludwig. So, lots of stuff going on. Stop in anytime. Our hours are Monday through Friday from 3 p.m. to 9 p.m. and then on Saturdays from 11 to 4. Most Saturdays. Some Saturdays I do have to take off a little early to get to a gig here and there, but I will be here until 4 tomorrow. Any questions, hit me up in the comments on YouTube, in the comments on Facebook. I will try to get to them right away, and hope all is well. We will be back again next Friday at 9:30 Central Standard Time. We may be working on this guitar. We may be doing something else, but we will be back. I did put a new horn on that guitar, which will be a reveal. So we're going to cut out the guitar that we created last week and get that ready for an actual body to start tracing and routing and all that fun stuff. So that might happen next week too. We have some more design work on that. We have some necks we need to build. We have some other guitars that are already in the build process we need to finish. We have a bunch of fretwork we need to do. There's so many things to do. Tons of gear to review as well. So Line 6 Pod Go review will be coming up in the next month as well. Huge fan of that. So again, I'm Travis. We're at Traverse Music in Menasha. Reach out anytime, call or text anytime. I'll do my best to answer. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. Appreciate all the support. Love to do it. You guys take care.